Welcome to the Perfect Parlay podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Coming off of Cynthia Calvillo versus Jessica I.
Yo, bro. You on the phone?
Dude.
Okay.
Is he seriously on the phone right now?
We'll talk about that big business later. We'll talk about that. I know it's a lot.
I guess he deserves it, man. He won it all.
Bother me.
I was hoping it didn't
bother me. These guys are bothering me. I gotta do the podcast real quick. Hold on 1 second. What's up? What's up, guys?
Yeah, we were just saying we were hoping it didn't get to your head.
Did you start the show?
Yeah, we're rolling.
Did you tell them that I won?
Yeah, we told them. Yeah.
And if they didn't know, it's also written on your screen. So they can look at that.
So I heard you say that this didn't change me. I don't know if you noticed the furs that I'm wearing.
What animal did you skin for that?
Don't worry about it. I don't want PETA coming after us. We're in an undisputed location.
Looks like just buy him off at this point.
I think it's moose antler fur. But that's not the only thing I bought. I actually hit the grocery store last night, the 24-hour grocery store.
Truffle finishing butter, eh?
I'm sure you can read. Yeah, that's what rich people put on their food. So
interesting.
Have you used it yet? Have you had a chance to use it?
I had breakfast earlier. I had toaster strudel, and I put it on my toaster strudel for my breakfast. I put it in my cereal. I had tacos earlier. I put it with my tacos. I put it on everything.
Well, that is a baller move. I can't deny that. So here we are. We're starting up the podcast. Welcome to the show. As we've all learned, Luke is our first Perfect Parlay champion. It is no longer a pursuit, but rather an achievement. Congratulations to Luke. I poured out a little brewski, a little liquid fun, a little liquid magic for him. I would say that this was a team accomplishment. Maybe it's just a solo accomplishment, but who cares? We got the parlay, baby. How's it feel, Luke?
Look, all kidding aside, there's a couple of things I need to say. There's a couple of promises I made in the pursuit of that perfect parlay. One of them was to the man upstairs. That's our Lord and Savior, God, okay, everybody? Now listen, if you're an atheist, I don't know what to tell you. God came through for me last night. I was on my knees. I was doing a lot of prayer, okay? And I promised God I would thank him on my podcast. So, God, thank you. All glory to God. Now that that's done and over with, I'm the fucking man. I'm like a savant of the UFC. I know everything about the sport. I picked that card meticulously. I got all 10 of those fights right, and I am now rich. And guess what? We're putting that money forward in a snowball-like fashion. We're going to keep doubling and tripling down. Let's put all the cards on the table. We've been doing this for 35 days. We've bet on 6 UFC cards. If you're doing the perfect parlay model, this is a $10 bet on a complete fight card parlay. By that model, I'm down $60. By last night's winnings, I'm up $1,600, baby. This has been 1 month. We're $1,600 up. Of course, I broke a little off for the boys. We're all playing with house money now. The bets are going to get bigger. The show's going to get bigger. And Alex has some good news, too. Why don't you talk, because I'm getting sick of talking.
Yeah, I got an A-lister for my next interview. I got Chris Gutierrez coming off of a huge leg kick finish from a couple fight cards ago with my boy Jaquise. It's on UFC Talk with Jaquise. And, featuring me. We're going to have a good time with Chris. We're going to see what's up. And it's on Instagram Live. So try to tune in.
When is that?
Wednesday.
Specific time?
I believe 8 o'clock. It depends on when Chris comes through. I think we're talking for a little bit beforehand, and then Chris is coming on. So around 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Sounds good. Well, regardless, we are here now for the Perfect Parlay Pursuit. We're going to keep rolling with this. Hopefully we got a couple others in the bag, starting off next week with Blaydes and Volkov. That should be a good one. Let's go over this one, man. This was the winner. This was winner chicken dinner for our good boy, Lukey CK. Who's our first fight here? I know we had Anthony Ivy versus...
If I could just say one more thing.
Go ahead.
In addition to promising to give all the glory to God, which I already did, and promising not to be cocky, which I've tried to do, I also promised that I would use this to lift the podcast up. So just know, everybody, that this was the pursuit of the perfect parlay. We've achieved that. This is historic. You can never say my name, Luke Clement, without saying champion afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Did it? We set out to do something 35 days ago, and we did it in 35 days. I mean, it took us 6 cards. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you guys something I haven't even told Alex, and I haven't even told Dan. This card was the first one that I sat down and looked at all the fights on it. The previous 5, I was just waiting until the podcast, and when you guys gave me your spiel, I was kind of like making my decision then for most of them. I was only I did no research until this card. And honestly, I felt guilty. I was like, what am I doing? It was your idea. I'm like, this was your idea to start this podcast with them, and they're doing so much research, you're doing none. And I started to feel guilty. So for this card, I pulled up everybody's tab, everybody's Wikipedia, and I was like, okay, I'm going to sit down an hour before the podcast. I'm going to look at every single fight. It's only 10 or 11 at that time, and I did. And, man, it definitely worked. So do research is the main takeaway. Know about the things in which you're wagering upon.
You hear that, kids? Hard work pays off.
And do your homework, boys and girls. Do your homework. It pays off. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, guys, it's all about the underdogs. It's all about the underdogs. Who are going to be the underdogs? We did not waste our time betting against Julia Avila. We didn't waste our time betting against Maria, that amazing, where is she from? Kazakhstan?
Right? Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. That was an amazing performance. We didn't waste our time betting against them, hoping they were going to slip on a banana peel. That's silly, okay? If that happens, that is antithetical to logic. So let's not bet on the illogical happening. I know last week I was saying we should kind of bet on the unexpected. Yes, bet on corruption. Bet on the unexpected knockout. But don't bet on somebody coming in and beating up somebody that they have no business being in there with. And that happens so much in the women's division. So the women's fights, they were given to us for free. The Cynthia one was a little bit harder to pick, but the two of the 10 guys, 20% of what we had to decide on was decided for us. Okay. Then you look at the last minute replacements. There were 2 big last minute replacements. There was Tyson Nam's last minute replacement and Merab's last minute replacement. Merab was already a heavy favorite. So that's 40% of the card now that is decided for us. Okay. Now we have 6 fights left. Of those 6, you have, again, some decent sized favorites like Andre Fili. Go with him. Close fight. That one could have robbed us. That's where going with the heavier favorite arbitrarily, and not taking into account that Andre Fili is the type of guy who gets into scraps and lets the fight kind of get out of the area where he can have the most success. Knowing that about his personality might have pushed you to where you guys bet Air Jordan. But me, knowing that he's American, has that wrestling, I committed to Fili, and he got him. Those takedowns are really, all other things equal, what won him that fight. It was a split decision. So once you get those out of the way, then you just have the ones that you really know nothing about, which is like the Anthony Ivy versus Charles Aguilera, 2 guys who have never been in the UFC before. So that's the one that I really focused 80% of my energy on when it comes to looking at their previous video footage, right? So it's not that you have to do video research on 10 fights. You have to do video research on 1 or 2 if you're active paying attention to the sport. And we're in a position where the last 60 so fights that went on, we haven't missed one. So we've never been paying attention more in our entire lives. And before this, we've actually been pretty avid fans already. So we're accumulating the knowledge as we're accumulating the DraftKings dollars. And like a snowball, this is going to avalanche, and we're going to take down the house.
Absolutely. We're going to keep this gravy train rolling. So we kind of went over that first fight already. Ended in a stylish knockout of Anthony Ivy. We're looking at the fight card here. Anthony Ivy versus Christian Aguilera. It looks like that sex change pulled off for her. She got the win.
That, by the way. He got really upset when an interview reporter asked him about that. He was like, no one really calls me that because I knock them out if they call me that. I just
are you serious?
Oh, my God. So he is very sensitive about that. Very sensitive about that. And he's a hothead. He's a former hockey enforcer. So he is not somebody – he will beat the shit out of you in public. So I just wanted to get that in there, but go ahead.
All right. Well, I say with all the utmost respect, Christian. Round 1, ended in the last 59 seconds. Beautiful knockout. Anything we have to say on this, boys?
Aguilera's pace was just too much. Anthony shelled up and Aguilera got the finish. It was pretty cut and dry.
Aguilera was able to keep Anthony Ivy's lead leg between both of his legs, and that is what allowed him to land the first punch that hurt him. From there, he just framed beautifully. He landed an amazing forearm strike that I really loved to see. And yeah, it was great, brutal, and you love to see it. He's been with a mindset coach for his last 2 fights, and that's something that's an important detail that led me to go with Christian Aguilera, that he's had a lot of success in his approach. Whenever you have a veteran who's reorganizing their mind, that is a dangerous, dangerous fighter. We've seen it with Diego Sanchez. We've seen it with George Masvidal. Guys who maybe have spotty records, but late in their career, they're coming to take the chips off the table.
As the great Yogi Berra once said, 80% of the game is mental. The other half, 80% of the game is, yes, mental. The other half is physical. Moving on. Interesting note here. The first 3 fights of the UFC, we actually set a record here for the fewest amount of time within the first 3 fights. I believe it was 122 seconds, something like that. So a ton of action here early on in the previews, prelims. Tyson Nam with that big counter knockout over. Go back to that screen, Lukey. Go back to the screen. I want to read that gentleman's name, even though he got knocked out. I believe it was Zaruk
Adeshev.
Zaruk Adeshev. I just want to give him a little shout out there. Another round 1 knockout, 33 seconds.
And he stepped up on a day's notice, if that. Hours
So
notice to take the plate.
Yeah, and you know what? We saw the same mistake that he made with Rosenstruck. Like a lot of these kickboxing guys, they put their guard down a little bit when they're throwing leg kicks because they think they have so much more to block with their other hand, so they could get up quicker because they usually have that like bubble on top. But it's not very effective, and they are getting clobbered when they throw leg kicks like that, and it's something to take note of for sure.
Absolutely. We're getting in-depth detail in here for the breakdowns. Next up, what do we have? Oh, this was a good one. Julia Avila versus Gina Mazzani. Man, Avila after that win was a screaming banshee. That was some scary shit right there, but I loved it. It was great. Any details on this? What do we got?
Oklahoma strong, man.
Oklahoma strong.
Sooner. They don't I don't care what you got to say. Like women from the Midwest, man, they don't make them like that out east. I got to tell you, she came in there and like you said, primal performance. She has been off my radar, but she is on my radar now, and she wants to get back in there in the next month. This small cage, these quick in and outs for these mismatches. Whoo! Let's get paid. Let's get everybody paid.
Oh yeah,
I think she got on a lot of people's radar, and Dana was saying that after the fight they were talking, and he and her agreed she wants to get right back in there, and he's down with it. So Julia Avila looking to make a name for herself. Anything you want to say there, Alex?
The Raging Panda and all-time smoke show. She came right on the mic and called him Poppy, and it made my heart flutter a little bit. My girlfriend was sitting there a little mad at me. I don't know. I was like, you wouldn't like to be called Poppy every now and then?
I don't think your girlfriend wants to be called Poppy.
She was like, well, I hate when you call me Mommy.
Good stuff. All right, what's our next fight here? That was an amazing first 3 fights. Again, 122 seconds, set a UFC record. And where did
Merab came up next against
Merab.
Great fight. Merab, I mean, again, the guy taking it on short notice. Amazing to step up on short notice like that against such a vicious opponent who everybody's talking about and no one doesn't know is amazing at what he does and everyone is avoiding. So I liked Merab's performance. I thought that the way he got takedowns both against the fence and in the center open field was really impressive. I thought that the work he was doing with his ground and pound was very efficient, effective, and busy. I thought his transitions were beautiful, and he was going for submissions wherever he could. He wasn't waiting for the perfect one or the one that he favors. He had his arm locked up with his legs at one point, and that was just something he did as he was making his way to the next thing. He just did that. He just said, hey, I'll pick this up on my way, So, wow, amazing performance. And I'm just trying to think if there's any other areas where I saw – because I saw a lot. I learned a lot from Merab in that fight.
13 takedowns.
Too. I think that's a record. Before that, when he had 12, I'm pretty sure that was a record. He broke his own record on the night for a 15-minute fight. That for a 3-rounder. You do say Merab fought really well, but what was the other gentleman's name who filled in? Lopez, he came out there and he was game as heck. At first I was a little shaken up because on the feet it looked like Gustavo was getting the best of Merab, but the machine just has a pace that you cannot stop. And that headlock armbar he had, dude, all respect to Lopez, man. Many people have tapped out for way less. That's all I'm going to say. Guys, iron.
Could you imagine having that guy's armpit in your nose and mouth and not being able to breathe and being smothered by his armpit while he squeezes your head?
Dude, I told you, a guy in my gym does it all the time. It's the worst pain in the world to have somebody sitting on your chest like that and then also just armbar you. It sucks. It sucks bad.
That is adding insult to injury. Merab living up to the nickname The Machine. That rounds out the prelims. Amazing. Again, can't say it enough. Ton of action. A lot of fun prelims. Look, this is why you can't count out any UFC card, right? Even if you don't have the biggest names, you still get a ton of action most of the time. So you got to pay attention to these fights. Also, ton of opportunities to win money at the same time. So, great night of fights. Great night of even just the prelims. So we moved on to the main card from there. What was the first card of the main event?
The first fight was my new favorite fighter, Maria Agapova. Oh my goodness, Maria Agapova. However you want to, I'll say whatever you want. I'll call you whatever you would like, Queen. You are the new champ. You are here to take over. I'm so excited that she's coming out of American Top Team. Wow, so many great fighters coming out of American Top Team. On this card too. I mean, there was another fighter earlier in the prelims who fought out of ATT. Who is it? Who am I thinking of? Doesn't matter. Maria is who we're talking about now. And she, man, the swag. Alex, talk about the swag that she was oozing.
The swag was ridiculous, and you can tell that she learned English from South Park and Rick and Morty based on the swag she was presenting in the octagon. It was nice, man. And she is a long, rangy woman. That was a massacre. And I don't know. She fought Hannah, right?
Hannah Cyphers.
I don't know what Hannah Cyphers did to Dana White and Sean Shelby, but toss the girl a bone, please. Give her a good fight. She's coming out there on short notice fighting this monster of a woman who just came out there and wrecked her in a couple seconds. She had the worst of both worlds. She gets tapped out one week. She gets knocked out the next week. You hate to see it, Love you, Hannah.
Hannah, all respect in the world. We all see, know, and feel what you're doing. But if you keep being a company girl, you're going to get a reputation as a company punching bag. And I don't want to see it. I mean, there are a certain amount of ladies in these divisions, and I don't know if it's a mismatch because of maybe they're like in between weight classes, or maybe it's just skill set mismatch or something. But we don't like. I like it, to be honest. I like seeing a girl like Maria get to just run a clinic, I'd rather see that than these back and forth matches where it's like they both just suck the same. Like they both are like they're equally as bad. Like neither of them can finish the other. They're both opening wide open holes for each other to finish the fight, and the other is not able to take it. They're not walking through the door, So I'd much rather see a girl run a clinic like Maria did than these back and forth slobber knockers that we're used to seeing. Sloppy, poor technique in the women's division. Prove me wrong, ladies. Prove me wrong. I would love to see more Marias, more Joannas, more Roses, more Wayleys.
More Agapova.
And that's exactly what I was about to say. Think of the wars they have at ATT together. You think they train together sometimes?
And is this a coincidence? Ask yourself, is this a coincidence that Cynthia Calvillo trains at AKA with other hammers, and you got Jessica I in her freaking garage with a bunch of nails? You gotta get with a good team. You gotta get with people who are better than you. How did you improve when you were a white belt? You improved by getting your ass kicked. How are you going to improve when you're black belt level? Still, you got to find a way to get your ass kicked.
Yeah, iron sharpens iron for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for Hannah Cyphers for taking that fight and giving us a display of Maria Agapova. Let's just say this. She took a heavy leg kick directly on the chin. I mean, you could see her shin like rattling back and forth in the slow-mo afterwards. I don't even know how she stood on her feet. But as long as the fight lasted, it was very entertaining. A star is born, Maria Agapova, just like Julia Vila. Got a couple women's division fighters moving up in the ranks and really making a name for themselves.
She went like this afterwards.
That's
I got scared. I was in my apartment. I was like, damn.
That's Thiago Silva shit. Like,
yeah, Jessica I is supposed to be the evil one, but I don't know. I think Maria Agapova takes the cake now.
Let's get a t-shirt of just that, of her doing that, and just her face. I'd wear that on the podcast.
Let's make it happen. All right, so second fight on the main card. Who we got here, fellas? Who do we got?
Okay, we got Jordan Espinoza, and it was a pretty good fight with Mark De La Rosa. Went to decision. One interesting thing I want to say about this fight is when Mark De La Rosa had Jordan Espinoza's leg, he's got him up against the cage, and he's trying to work for that single. The single never came, and Jordan Espinoza took the opportunity to land dozens and dozens of head strikes and body strikes. He was going after him the whole round. It reminded me of a fight, Gegard Mousasi versus King Mo, a fight that Gegard lost, but a fight that if you go back and watch, you'll find Gegard is whopping him with punches while King Mo sort of just has his head buried in his chest and isn't really doing much ground and pound at all from the guard. And it's a case where you're seeing guard offense that really was ahead of its time in that the judges still gave the fight to King Mo. But in this fight, again, a guy who isn't necessarily demonstrating octagon control, but he's landing effective strikes and to the guy's head and to the point where De La Rosa's corner had to acknowledge it and say, stop doing that. It's not that you have his leg. He's got both your arms.
Alex, I gotta toss the mic over to you, buddy. Why you look so solemn over there?
I don't know, man. I just feel like, Mark of the Roses, he really was putting it together at the end when he started doubling up on his strikes, working for the end of the combo rather than throwing one-offs. He really started to look like he was coming back late. You got to take into account the fatigue of Espinosa when you're throwing like triple-digit strikes in the first round, destroying somebody when they only have single digits. But yeah, I mean, this one really hurt. This was the worst card of my life. Okay, this will never happen again, folks. Luke, he did it. He's the man and all. But listen, he had the lowest of us all before this. I can't sit idle and listen to this chirp box over here telling me how I suck. All right, I can't deal with that. Okay.
It only takes one event, and now we are all even at deadlocked 60%. Now he's on the phone again talking to his agent or God knows who.
Probably putting money on my head.
Hold on, I'm trying to listen in. Oh. What was that, Luke?
Oh, I'm just trying to work out a deal to get some new co-hosts for the podcast who can pull the rate. I got my agent. I got lots of offers, people reaching out to me, and people who want to invest. Bill Gates is very pleased. Let's just say that. Bill is very happy.
Pretty soon we won't need Bill's money anymore. That's what I say if we keep winning like this.
I took a lot of Bill Gates' money to start this podcast. We have a heavy debt to pay, but we'll get into that in another episode. Anyway, guys, like, don't worry. I put you on my back, and I'm going to carry you and this podcast to the promised land. I made a promise to God I would look after you boys, and I'm going to see to it that I always look after you too, like baby birds in the nest. You're my baby bird.
Thank you, Poppy. Thank you, Poppy.
Yes. As long as you regurgitate food into my mouth.
So, I will. I'm regurgitating the DraftKings winnings back to you guys right now so that you can. I got to keep morale high. I got to keep morale high amongst the troops.
Our morale is high. We're partying, man. This is a celebratory podcast.
When one of us wins, we all win. Let's be real. When one of us wins, we all freaking win. I mean, that's why we're going at this. And another hot gambling tip I'm going to give to you folks still listening. Bet on more than one parlay. I only actually bet on, one parlay every time during this thing. But this one, I got nervous at the end, and I threw another parlay together where I said Anthony Ivy wins instead of Aguilera. But that one obviously just, after the first fight, it was dead. But I was like, I don't want to be out of this if Aguilera doesn't show up. I want to make sure that I can continue after the first fight. I didn't want to ruin my whole day. I kind of, I built my whole day. I don't have a lot going on. I didn't have a lot going on. Now I have a lot going on. I built my whole day around the UFC fight. I didn't want the first fight to knock me out. So think about it like this, guys. I could have bet 10 freaking parlays. I won $1,600. I could have threw $100 out there to try to win. You know what I mean? This is making me think. Just have more lottery tickets. They're lottery tickets, but with a very high percent chance of winning.
Sometimes you should put the same parlay twice by mistake and have it work even better.
That is right. Alex accidentally entered it in as a 9-fight parlay, and I'm so committed to make it.
It was earlier in the week. It was before the other fight got added.
Oh, right. This is why we had assembled the parlay before the other fight got added, and then we had to make sure that we did a 10-fight parlay because couldn't just. Could you imagine if I had won a 9-fight parlay, but the one was hanging off? Oh my God,
that would have cost you 400 bones, right?
Yeah, it would have cost me 1,000. It was like a big difference between the 9 and the 10. I think it's because the person who we bet on who got added was an underdog. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, let's continue to break down this main card.
All right, who we got? I think it was Andre Fili versus Charles Jourdain at this point. Am I correct?
Yeah. So we kind of touched on this one earlier. Anything you guys wanted to add?
Yeah, I got real excited when Jourdain dropped Fili early on in the fight, but from then on, it looked nothing but bleak. This is when I started really getting real demoralized. A couple losses started racking up, although, I was sitting all right, but I was certainly no perfect parlay winner. But yeah, Andre Fili just showed his experience, showed an overall better game plan, overall better skill set, certainly worked the wrestling. I was hoping he wouldn't be able to work the wrestling because I knew that, Jourdain didn't have the best takedown defense, nor was it really tested. But yeah, Fili just kind of went out there, did his thing. Wasn't anything super spectacular, but showed off all his tools and got the W. Anything else to add, Alex?
I don't have anything against Charles Jourdain, but you got to change the name now. Don't put disrespect on his airness. He never lost a championship ever. So, maybe Charles Bear Jordan, something of that nature. B-E-A-R or B-A-R-E. I don't care which one. You can put it in either tense. It works. The knockdown was very exciting, and then it was all Andre Fili from there. I thought that touchy-feely was going to get drawn out because Charles Jourdain was getting in his face after the breaks in the round. But, maybe Fili's finally come around to the light side. He's able to just put his emotions aside and start fighting. And he's a dangerous man if that's what he does.
Hell of a dance afterwards, too. Hell of a dance.
Dude, I couldn't even stomach watching the decision. I had to go in the shower and cry for a little.
You think you couldn't stomach watching the decision? When I heard them read Jourdain's name, I just felt like he was backing up the whole fight. When they would exchange kicks, Fili sounded better. They landed to the head. They were breaking the guard. Like he was connecting. And I think especially that third round, Fili really came alive. And then those takedowns. When the striking is that equal, you have to look to the grappling. And I'm so sick of Paul Felder, who's never wrestled a day in his life, and it shows. Out here saying, oh, takedowns, if you get a takedown but you don't do anything with it, then it doesn't really matter. That is the dumbest mentality. I know that's the new rule or whatever, but it's so stupid. If somebody takes you and drags you to the ground and now you have to use your energy just to get back to a neutral area of the fight, that costs you energy, and you were in a place you didn't want to be that you had to fight out of. Even if it's just 1 point, it's something. It's something. A takedown is something, okay? It's not nothing. The idea that a takedown dictating where the fight is taking place is nothing is ridiculous. Unless you beat them up. What if you take somebody down and blast them right so that their tailbone lands right on the ground? You could concuss somebody with a takedown like that. If you're like Khabib, you control the hands, plant them right on their ass as they're on their way down. Or if you're like DC, or if you're like Demetrius Johnson, the way that they take people down, where they control one of their hands on the way down so that they impact and they slam them. You could rattle somebody. You think Conor McGregor's shoulder strikes are bad?
He did rattle him with one. He took him down, and it looked like he was kind of like stiffened up, Gray Maynard style.
Especially when you're a Canadian who doesn't know anything about wrestling, and you're getting sat down by those takedowns. Andre was sitting him down with them. It was the same as Cynthia sitting Jessica I down. You would think that neither of them had ever even seen a takedown in their life, the way they were getting just shoot, no effort, no defense, no sprawl, nothing. Sorry, I'm getting a little fired up here thinking about Paul Felder's red hair.
Listen, for the record, I love the Irish Dragon. Okay, love the Irish Dragon.
I just take issue with him on the broadcast saying, well, the takedown doesn't really count if he doesn't do anything with it. Typical striker mentality. Typical striker. He's just like, what? He's the guy who probably goes in a street fight and is like, two guys, one guy takes some guy down in a street fight. He's like, stand him up. Come on, stand him up. What is this? What are we? One of those guys who acts like it's like the highest dishonor to fight on the ground. What, we're fighting on the ground like it's a bunch of civilized worms. Get up. Fight like civilized men with your bare hands in the street. The way
Smack your head on the pavement and smack
thorough rules. The way gentlemen play. Anyway.
All right, Paul Felder's taken up too much of this broadcast time. Let's move on to the next one. I will personally introduce this one. This was Marvin, I guess he's Italian, Vittori versus Carl Roberson.
Wait a minute. You're going to skip
right
over. You're going to skip
Oh, wait.
No, wait. I tried to get out of it.
Kevin Aguilar, and I think
I tried to get out of it.
I think you have something to atone for, man. Boston Strong went wild on Kevin Aguilar, and you've been on the wrong side of his decisions now twice.
Two times over.
Sometimes the shoe's on the wrong foot.
So if you folks haven't been following UFC 249, Charles Rosa versus Bryce Mitchell, second fight of the card. Both these gentlemen, they knew Bryce Mitchell right away was going to have his way with Rosa, especially on the ground. It was nothing but a one-sided beatdown. I took Charles Rosa, man. I took the more experienced vet, and I paid for it. This time over, tried to learn from my mistakes. I guess not. I guess I just doubled down on my mistakes there. I picked Aguilar. What's the first name? Chris Aguilar? Kevin Aguilar. My apologies. Kevin Aguilar. That did not bear too well for me. It was a close fight. It wasn't the one-sided beatdown in the Bryce Mitchell fight. It was a close fight. Still took the L, though. I don't know, man. I just hope that Charles Rosa is never on a fight card from here on out. I don't know what to say. I got nothing else on this one, fellas. You can roast me if you want. The rest is yours. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm gonna fry you up like a little steak. I'm gonna steak you up, Charles Rosa style, on the house. Compliments of the chef.
Charles Rose is a steak chef, and he trains at American Top Team. He was the other guy that I was thinking of that trains at American Top Team. But his leg kicks, Alex. I was thinking about this when you mentioned the fighter who fought Nam, who got knocked out. When you mentioned his leg kicks, I was thinking about Rosa, because Rosa, man, his leg kicks were so ineffective, and he was getting hit every time he threw them. And I just wanted his coach to be like, listen, no more leg kicks, none. Throw your little hook kick if you want. Throw your kick to the body if you want, but don't kick this guy in the leg. It's pathetic. It was really bad. The blitzes he was doing going in, trying to be Wonder Boy, they worked when they worked, and they didn't when they didn't. It was 50-50. So, and I thought he gave up on the takedown in the first round. He didn't really go for it much more throughout the whole rest of the fight, and I thought he gave up a little too soon on that. He should have chained it together like my girl Cynthia. Other than that, he got the win, but he didn't make me feel too good watching him. I was like, oh, he's going to lose to this guy that he should beat, in my opinion.
Guys, and pro tip, when they're reading the decisions and it's split, they always say the winner second. You hear the first guy first, he's a loser. He's the loser of the fight. They're throwing him his bone, getting him excited, getting a little pop in the stadium. The second guy they read always wins. I've only seen 2 times it's never happened.
They used to always read the winner first. They used
Never.
to. No, when you were younger and I was a young fan, they would read the winner first. It might differ between Bruce Buffer and Joe Martinez.
No, Bruce does it. Bruce reads
He does it now, but in the past, I will find you examples of Bruce Buffer reading the winner's
name. You won't find more
first.
than 5.
I'll find you more than 5. From 01 to 08.
All right. Fair enough.
That'll be a nice little segment on the next one, on the next podcast. Joe Martinez versus Buffer on the split
decisions now. Okay, So after that, now you can get into the great matchup of the Italian Dream versus
the Italian Dream. He turned out to be my Italian nightmare, Marvin Vittori versus Carl Roberson. I made up this whole stick about Carl Roberson being from New Jersey, being surrounded by the real Italians, and believing that Marvin Vittori may not be as real Italian as he puts himself out there to believe. Personally, anyone whose name is Marvin, like Marvin Gaye, I'm a little suspect that you're Italian, okay? I will have to say, though, he had a great fight, tapped him out, had his little Italian roar afterwards, or whatever. Listen. I just want to bury it all, say that I apologize to Marvin Vettori. He could come over to my place. I'll introduce him to spaghetti and meatballs. I know he's never had it before, and we can go from there. He had a great fight. I don't know what to tell you. Good job, Signor Vettori or whatever. Go ahead, guys. Break it down.
I mean, the only thing that's going to get buried is you, as you continue to dig your own grave with the Italian community, and they're going to make you dig your
I'm
own
standing
grave.
up for the real Italians. The real Italians, not Marvin.
Marvin's going to make you dig your own grave when he comes to find you, and then they're going to put you in a hole, is what they're going to do. Because, I mean, Dan, the Italians, you need to have a little bit more respect for the Italian dream. He came in and got it done. He's a winner. He's bigger. What's his name? Carl called him a juice head. It's like, hey, Carl, why don't you worry about your own physique and just making weight without passing out? Oh, my God. All right, listen, I'm right here in New York. He's over there in Jersey. He could definitely come get me if he wants to, but I'm still going to say this. When I heard him say, oh, my nutritionist pulled it because she didn't want me to pass out. So you're a grown man with another person in your life who's like, I didn't want you to pass out. Like, what? I was like, dude, pass out. That's the least of your worries. Passing out, you're about to get choked out by the Italian dream. And that's what did happen. Very disrespectful to come in, not making weight after not making weight the last time. He's wasting everybody's time, Carl Robertson. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. He's wasting my time. He's wasting your time. Get him out. He doesn't want to be here, okay? He doesn't want to cut the weight, doesn't want to fight, doesn't want to win. Go to Bellator. See, they like to take vacation during the crisis anyway. That's where you should be on vacation with Bellator.
Lucky Lukey big time said it first. Done with Carl Robertson. I do live somewhat close to Carl Robertson, so I'm not going to say anything wrong about him, but I will say that the weight is an issue, my friend, and maybe bump up. Maybe go up to light heavyweight. You almost put out Glover Teixeira, but everybody knows Glover Teixeira is my guy, my best friend of the podcast. I called him last night. He said, man, if this guy, if he missed weight against me, see what happens. That's what he told me on the phone last night. Quote it, book it, put it down. And you know what? Marvin Vettori, a beautiful Italian. You know what? He's a specimen of Italy, and he should take a page out of St. Northcutt's book. And whenever somebody says you're on steroids, say, thank you, man, because it's kind of hard to look this good.
All right, I'll give it to him. He's Italian. All right, what do you want me to say? I guess he's Italian. I just think his first name is a little suspect, and I don't know. I'd like to hear him speak Italian.
He can barely speak English. Why
I want to hear that. I want to hear that.
Where did it start from? He has got the flag. He lives in Italy. Like, he's from Italy. Like, I don't know what this is about.
Have you seen him in Italy? Have you seen him there?
Hey, man, especially in this pandemic, I'm not going to yell at him if he's not in Italy. They got hit the hardest, and my heart goes out to them. I've been praying for Italy. Mark it down. I've been praying for Italy. My next fight pick this weekend is going to be for Italy, and I'm going to get the perfect parlay.
I think he's Albanian. I don't know. I think he's Albanian. He's trying to pass off as Italian. I think he's trying to get the marketing of Italy into his fights.
We haven't had a really great Italian fighter since who? I know who it is, but let's see if Alex can remember who the last great Italian fighter to grace the octagon.
Ooh. I don't know who.
See,
Define great.
Well,
pick anyone.
Yeah, I mean, early days of the UFC, he had really great tattoos. His nickname, I think, was Legionaris.
I don't think he was Italian.
Yeah, he was.
Are you talking about the dude who beat up the guy on the football player on the street? He's not Italian.
No. That's not who I'm talking about.
The hunk, the beef.
Who is it?
I forget his name.
He's got to look it up. We hear you typing away.
Alessio Sakara.
All right, fair enough. His method of trying to quiz me was because he actually
I was drawing a blank on the name Alessio Sakara, but I knew who he was. I was looking for the file, and I was hoping you could pull it for me a little quicker. But yeah, Alessio Sakara, great Italian fighter.
Who am I thinking of? The dude who beat up Clay Guida.
You are thinking of somebody else. Hector, you're thinking of
Lightweight. He was on the cover of
Roger Huerta.
Roger Huerta.
Yes. Same colors, different part of the world.
Yes.
The red, the white, and the green.
Yep.
He's from Mexico. So when it comes down to it, we had one fight left, and the last fight, I mean, I'm sitting there. You got to imagine. Put yourself in my shoes. I'm in my apartment. I'm alone. I'm not checking my phone because I don't need my girlfriend asking me, "Did you win the perfect parlay?"
What are you wearing?
I don't remember. I think I was in my undies, but I'm walking around. I'm pacing like a cat in a zoo, and I'm trying to burn this nervous energy off. I'm doing push-ups on the floor. I'm just drinking coffee, making me more nervous. Watching alone, and I basically, when the perfect parlay hit, I had this sense of bliss. If you've ever played Call of Duty and you've gotten a win in the Battle Royale Warzone, imagine that feeling, that feeling of coming home, the feeling of completion, the feeling of the full circle, the snake biting his own tail. It was just, the cipher was complete. I felt like I had pulled my arrow back and I hit a bullseye. Basically, I brought Alex and Dan into this whole idea 35 days ago, and it worked. I don't have a lot of things that work in my life. I don't have a lot of things that work, but this worked, and now I'm rich. I have $1,600. Which
brings us to our sponsor, Blue Chew. Things that don't work. Eat a Blue Chew. Your dick will get hard immediately. Believe me.
Oh.
First, it's free, Blue Chew. If you want any of these 60 to 100 listeners that we currently have, hit us up. And as always, we've had a great time with you. If you're not betting with us now, you better start. And trust me, this is not the only one we're going to win. We're going to keep winning. Alex is going to get a win. Dan is going to get a win. Track our picks. Every one of us is now tied for 0.6, 60% accuracy in our picks. We all are at 60% accuracy exactly. We have the same amount of correct picks. And if you bet with us, I don't know what game you can play in Vegas where you're getting 60% accuracy or 60% win rate. I mean, don't do a perfect parlay. Take a look at our picks. Pick a couple that you think are really strong. Go with them. We want to see your winnings. Send them to our Instagram account. Comment on the YouTube videos. Please, do all those things that help this thing grow. Like, share, subscribe. Leave it playing while you're out walking your dog and stuff on a loop multiple times. Whatever you got to do to help out. Send us money by signing up for DraftKings. If you've never have, you can sign up for DraftKings in the link in the description below. Anything you put in, they match, and they also send us the same amount. So if you sign up with $100, we get $100. We will let you know what we bet that on, and we might even let you have a say in where we put that money. So again, anything you guys want to say, follow us on Instagram at perfect_parlay and at Euro_King.
Yep. And I'm going live Wednesday night with Jaquise, UFC Talk with Jaquise. We have an A-lister coming on, Chris Gutierrez. It's going to be magnificent. It's going to be a spectacle of the ages, like the World Fair. Every now and then it comes around. Don't miss this. It's a shooting star.
Absolutely. Shout out to the Italians. And, we will be filming for Blaydes versus Volkov Tuesday night. Should drop sometime Wednesday afternoon. So that'll be the next card. Another perfect parlay coming up. I'm calling it right now, but I think your boy right here is going to take it. I think your boy right here is going to take it, get rich himself. What do you say, Alex? You think you got it?
I was skeptical at first. I will admit I was skeptical. I used to say parlays are a sucker's bet, but you heard it here first. It is possible. It's doable by Lukey CK himself. And if the blind squirrel could find his nut every once in a while, hey, even you could.
So can you. All right. I think that Luke, you got something to say? One more thing?
I was going to let you wrap it. It was perfect.
All right. Let's wrap this thing up. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. We will see you on Wednesday. Peace out, everybody.
Love you, fellas.